Sean Farrell is in charge of studying digital assets at Fundstrat. I was also given some general goals to work toward. One of his ideas is that Ethereum is about the same as $15,000 or cents if we look at Circle and its free cash multiple, which is about 130 times EBITDA right now. Our tech manager, Mark Newton, may have thought that Ethereum could reach 4,000 by the end of the month. That's not where it really hits its peak. He only sees that as the first line of defense. Then I think of something else. I agree with Sean Frail that 10 to 15,000 makes sense by the end of the year. It can happen before or after the end of the year. It's kind of different. That wouldn't be the highest point, but it does show that a number above 5,000 would clearly mean that Ethereum had reached its highest point ever. I agree that amount is important to keep an eye on. You can now find Tom Lee more often if you're interested in crypto. He tells you a lot of new things that I think will be very helpful. This video will cover many important topics, but one of the most important is the role of stablecoins and how they affect the price growth of the crypto assets that stablecoin deals are held on. In this sentence, Tom Lee talked about how the price of Ethereum has gone up because of transactions involving USDC and USDT on the Ethereum network. This is because most of these stablecoin transactions happen on this network. But please think about this. Could stablecoin exchanges be the only thing that makes Ethereum's price go up 5 times? If so, how likely is it that XRP's price will do the same? Because today's show is going to be mostly about RLUSD, and a lot of people use it. You'll be surprised by the answer. Before we go any further, I want to quickly let you know that Crypto Crusaders, my secret free trading group, is now open for new users. You will be able to see all of my trades and posts once you become a member. I've made gains of up to 400% in a single month, more than once. It shouldn't be hard for you guys to get in. After watching the movie, take these 3 steps on my website. Let us listen to what Tom Lee has to say. A lot of people are looking at Ethereum as a chain again. In the past, some people didn't like it, either because of how layer 2 and layer 1 work together or because the network has been made better and faster. They're doing a lot of their work on Ethereum because stablecoins have changed their minds about how useful crypto can be. Wall Street is becoming more interested in crypto. As we already said, stablecoins have made crypto a ChatGPT moment. This is because so many people are using it that stores, especially outside of the US, are starting to love it. It's now being seen by banks as a good way to run a business. We just heard from Croup that they want to make a safe coin, even if it's just to keep track of their bank base. Still, is Wall Street really getting on board with crypto? At the end of the day, a few things will matter. There are, of course, people on Wall Street who want a big chain that will play by the rules in the US, where a lot of real-world assets are already tied down and on layer 1. That's the reason we think 10 years from now, Ethereum will be very important. Do you think Ethereum can keep up? Yes. Their only job is to make sure there is enough gas for everyone and that we can use the gas that is out there. That's where you should know that. These banks are pretty important, and that betting is how they make money. When people become interested in a token or token market again, I think they want to make it better for us. I believe that this ChatGPT moment happening around Ethereum will also help spark a wave of new ideas. It's the same as when ChatGPT first came to Silicon Valley. This is after everyone had worked for SAS for decades. But guess what? Now there are a lot of venture-backed businesses that use AI and ChatGPT. These businesses are growing like crazy and will soon hit 1 million customers. Now is a very important time for the industry to understand that as Wall Street comes together, it could change how important smart contracts and Ethereum are. This is because it will bring a lot of attention, new users and new uses. Because of this, I think Ethereum's power could grow really quickly. How much do you think ETH will be worth in the second half of the year? We want to reach Fundstrat as a price. That's why I have many hats on. I am the chairman of BitMine and the head of research at Fundstrat. My third job is as the chief information officer of Fundstreet Capital. But Sean Farrell at Fundstreet is in charge of studying digital assets, and he gave me some general goals to work toward. That makes sense. You already know that when you get to layer 1, you should use a multiple to make things more interesting. That's because software companies get paid more than shops, right? There is more noise and you charge a business more to do something when you are farther away from the customer. Mark Newton, our technical analyst, may have thought that we could see 4,000 for a theory by the end of the month. It doesn't peak there, though. He only sees that as the first line of defense. Then I think of something else. I agree with Sean Frewell that 10 to 15,000 makes sense if his math is correct, because of it could be before or after the end of the year. It's kind of different. If that level went above 5,000, it would be clear that Ethereum had hit its all-time high. That's not the cap, but it does show that one. I agree that amount is important to keep an eye on. We really believe that Ethereum is a token that costs way too little. Crypto is having its chat sheet moment for these and other reasons I gave. Ethereum is really the second great winner here. Putting money into something that can gain worth 10 times or more is a good idea. MicroStrategy began their bank strategy back when Bitcoin was worth a squat. Some people also say, why don't you just buy Ethereum? If you buy in an Ethereum treasury company, you can get more ETH per share. To get money, these businesses use capital markets that are quick to change. They can also bet and win money that way. Bitmine is one example. It began with $250 million, 0 cents in ETH. That round was over in July 9th or 8th. After 3 days, Bitmine added an extra $250 million, 0 cents to the Treasury's funds. It only took 3 days for the amount of Treasury reserves to double, and that was on Friday of last week. You can see that having a treasury company that uses the capital markets to buy more ETH is a good idea, because the amount of ETH you thought you had doubled in just 3 days because the company bought more ETH. So this event is still going on. That's why I think it's good to own a treasury business that does this. At its core, Tom Lee's point is that big banks and other financial institutions will accept and use safe coins. This is also what I think will be the next big thing in the crypto world. This means that the blockchain these banks choose to put their safe coins on is the most important thing. We should all ask ourselves this question. Some of the things they want are smart contracts that help their customers and make them more money than they are now. That's why these banks are quickly making their own safe coins. They understand this is a great way to make money, and it can help them make a lot more money. But we also need to let these banks know which blockchain will help them the most. Okay, so Ethereum does have some great things like smart contracts, open apps, and more, but the XRPPO also does this to be able to thrive in this new world. It is now being built from the ground up with all of these new features and ways to join. It's also important to remember that the XRPPO was made to work with these payment methods. It makes sense that we would get all of this market value if we could make all of these steady coin deals work. Like Tom Lee said, what we're seeing with USDC and stable coins right now should be enough to push the price of Ethereum or XRP to $15,000 by 0 cents. Think about trillions of dollars going through the XRPL to buy and sell safe coins in this case. What does that mean for the idea that XRP will become more expensive? XRP in general. A lot of people love to talk about how crazy it is that XRP cost $1,000, 0 cents per XRP. That's what I think might cause them to happen.